Nice. I like the way we're doing it now. We got the intro music. Bill, we can talk over the intro music.
Holy shit. Rockin' and roll.
That sounds good, man. Here we are, Tribeca, New York City, the new home of Police Off the Cuff. I don't know if you know, obviously you've noticed if you just tuned in, but we finally got the banner for all you people that were complaining that we don't have a banner. How does it look? Pretty cool, right?
They didn't like the brick wall, the naked brick wall, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. It was, some people were saying it looked like a dungeon. I get it. The other side of the room is a bookshelf. That would have been pretty cool, but then again, I don't know.
This looks
too,
like
too academic for what we do here.
This looks like the dungeon from Pulp Fiction. Remember when that gimp came out of the suitcase?
Yeah. Well, not anymore, no.
Now they wouldn't feel comfortable here. You know?
Now everybody knows who we are, whose we are. All right, so welcome to Police Off the Cuff. Like we always do, we don't like to keep our guests sitting around. We want to get them right in the mix. So without further ado, a living legend with the NYPD. Bill, my partner, told me that you got a couple of Medals of Valor and stuff like that.
No, I have one Medal of Valor.
Yeah?
Yeah, 7 commendations.
How many EPDs you have to get?
You could trade 50 EPDs for one Medal of Valor.
No, it's probably like 500 EPDs. What's up, Vic Hollifield in the house? What's up, Vic?
Not much. How are you? I
You call it
appreciate coming
Holyfield or
down.
Hollifield?
Hollifield.
Hollifield, all right.
My stepbrother, Vanda.
Yeah. I could tell.
Yeah.
I could tell as soon as I saw you.
Same family.
Yeah. As soon as I saw you, I
He's got
knew.
the missing ear. That's how I knew it was him.
Yeah. As soon as I saw you, I knew.
So an EDP.
No.
An EPD.
No. That's for us.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Because we got our producer. She's in the corner there, and she's scrolling some stuff. There's maybe some possible questions for the future.
All right.
So that we read that. But I enjoy. I'm.
His enthusiasm.
I like your
inspiring.
enthusiasm. That's Pam Leone over there on the ones and twos. She's got the grease board all sparked up and ready to go. Oh, on the ones and twos, I'm in is Rashad. He's in the house. He's back. You all right? You feeling better?
He's got that mask on. He looks like a gangbanger.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he looks like from that show, The Watchmen. I started watching that. That's pretty cool.
He's better though. No more flu. No more pneumonia.
In the show, The Watchmen, the cops have to wear masks to cover their identity. Isn't that interesting?
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, I promised I'd get Vic in. We'll talk about that in a little while. But Vic, man, what's up? Welcome to.
You
What do you
forgot
think?
to tell him what an EPD is, Mark.
We'll tell him. We'll get to that. Give it a second. Let me just introduce the guy. What's up, Vic Hollifield? How are you?
Very well, thank you.
How far did you come in from today to be with us?
I live up in Orange County. It took me about 2 hours to get down here.
So you grew up in Queens, but then you moved to I heard you say that earlier. You grew up in Queens. What part of Queens?
I was born in Hollis, but we moved around quite a bit. You know, Jamaica.
Oh, that area over there, huh?
Yeah.
Born in Hollis, huh? So you went
Yeah.
to school at Run DMC?
I don't. Yeah. Well, maybe a
doesn't
couple
know
years.
who it
apart.
This might sound familiar
Oh,
to you.
did
You
you go to
ready?
Jackson?
Listen, since you grew up in Hollis, this might sound familiar to you. Ready? That's Sucker MCs, man.
Oh yeah.
That's how I used to get into apartments in the projects.
That shit was feeding back too.
Yeah. This table has
That's
a lot of
why we
reverb.
tell 'em don't
That's
knock
why
on
we
the
always
table.
we always keep the hands on. We make sure nobody's
right.
banging the table.
right.
But so you're from Queens originally? Is that where you grew up?
Yeah. I went to high school.
Where'd you go to high school? Jamaica High School?
No, right next door, Thomas Edison.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The people that left Jamaica High School, they used to go beat up the people from Thomas Edison.
No,
right?
they didn't.
Is that
Nah.
the guy? That's the guy who
you
invented
guys
the
tough?
light bulb, right?
Yeah. Thomas Edison at the time was an all boys school.
Oh yeah, huh?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, all boys schools, man. Those are like a thing of the past because Malloy now, I think they have girls. Girls go to Malloy now, and I think girls also go to McClancy now.
I was the senior class president.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, graduating class of 75.
75, huh?
It was not based on any academic achievement, I can assure you.
So you used to wear the what was they called? The crayon shoes? Were those the big soles? Hey, let me tell you something about the 70s. The 70s had great clothes, man.
Yeah, no.
They're saying the 80s was a
believe
great.
it or not, though, you see what I look like now? I used to have my hair parted down the middle and, like John Lennon.
Oh my God! Did you have those circle glasses too?
No, I didn't have the
Did you have the bell-bottom pants?
Yeah,
you had to
sure.
have those,
yeah, with
right?
the big buckle. Yeah, sure.
And there's polyester shirts too.
Yeah, with the big collars, right? With the big pointy
Yeah,
collar.
yeah. That was that neighborhood was pretty diversified. Jamaica Queens. There was a lot of. There's still a Greek school over there.
Yeah.
You know the Greek school I'm talking? I think it's I think it might be another St. Demetrius over there, but they have a basketball team over there. We used to go kick their ass.
Well, I remember they had the Dominican commercial. That's where all the girls went. And then, I met my wife over at what the hell high school did she go to? Snob Hill.
Not Forest Hills. No.
You know the one I'm talking about?
Forest Hill, Christ the King.
No, the one Jamaica Estates.
Oh, it's not Forest Hills then, right? No. It'll come to us.
You guys in Queens don't know your school.
St. Francis Prep?
No. In Jamaica, off 188th Street. Snob Hill.
That's not the name of it,
No,
though.
it's a Catholic girls' school.
But I'm still not St. Rita's. No.
No.
Are you gonna tell us? Or you don't remember either?
I don't remember either. I can't remember the place.
I thought you were holding it back.
Nah, but I met it. So I just.
You guys are traumatized.
42
boys,
years
I
I'm
think.
married to her.
How many?
42.
Oh, God bless you. That's beautiful.
It's wonderful.
That's beautiful, huh? How many? I was gonna say, have you tried to? How many times have you tried to escape? No. So, what year did you come on the police department?
January '82. Mary Lewis Academy.
Mary Lewis Academy. There you go. Yeah, you're right. Snob Hill.
Yeah,
you're
Mary
right.
Lewis Academy. Yeah.
You're right.
1982. That was that 3,000 class, right?
It was January '82. We had 3,000.
That's a lot.
I had 3,000 in my class too.
Did you?
Yeah.
I
So
remember
82. Why was the reason for such a big class in 82?
Well, it was the first class, the first big class after all the layoffs in the '70s.
That's right.
So they build it up to that finally that 82 class.
Yeah, they finally had the money to put some numbers through the academy, and I remember going through the academy. It was like you do a day tour, and then the next guy would be doing a 4 to 12. So you had like a hot locker.
Yeah.
You put your clothes in your locker, but you had to take it out because somebody else was going in there 20 minutes later.
They go 7 days a week.
5 days a week.
5 days.
Yeah,
That's the way we did it too.
Yeah.
Because they had to give the academy people their weekends off, right?
Right. Yeah.
But I remember waiting in line for the showers.
Yeah, that's right.
And you don't want to bring your towel in there to like throw in the bunch. Either you lose it or it would get wet. Why? What? So you left your towel in your locker. You just got in line. You're standing there naked, waiting to go in the shower. You took your shower, and then that's when I went to go get my towel. I'm gonna lose my towel.
We did the exercises up on the roof of the police academy.
And
We used to run around in the
muscle
gym.
Yeah, right.
We used to run around in the gym, and I remember it was 27 laps, and
And the last thing you wanted to do was drop out.
Oh, I never dropped out.
Never.
Oh, I was in great shape. Not only that, but we used to we were 55, so we started the run. So after the first lap, I used to yell out all the time. I used to go, 26 more. And the reason why I used to do that was because I wanted to do a mind fuck to all the run dropouts.
There's somebody else back there telling us, shut the fuck up.
Fuck it, I had no respect for
But
them.
you know
Drop
something?
out now. Why not?
Back then, though, they could call the fat people sumos. Remember they used to say that? If
That's
they
right.
did that now, there'd be a lawsuit.
Student under medical observation.
Yes.
Yeah.
SUMO.
Sumos.
Yeah.
I always thought, if you're going to drop out, why not just drop out in the first lap, the second lap? And then you always see them in the middle because they
Same
couldn't
ones.
just disappear. They have to stand in the middle.
Yeah.
And they'd always be grabbing their shins.
Oh, yeah,
or
they feigned injury.
Stretching
Exactly.
out in the
They
middle.
had a hamstring pull. They ate too much ham the night before. That's what it was, right?
And for those of you, if you could just imagine, I don't know how many, 5 or 6 companies of 30 people running around a gym. It's basically a basketball gym. So how fast can you possibly go? Because otherwise you're running up the other company's ass.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you're not running that fast. You could walk almost doing 27
So
laps.
dropping out was a real badge of
you had to try
dishonor.
really hard to drop out, and people did.
I remember, though, they taught us boxing.
Yeah.
And there was a young girl that got hurt during a boxing training incident. They fired her ass. Boom. You're on.
Really?
Yeah. She was on probation. She got hurt. Fired.
Yeah, they wouldn't. That's a lot
That's
of money
brutal.
they invest.
Brutal.
In them.
Today,
They wouldn't do that
today
now.
you'd get 3/4 from the academy.
From the
I remember her name was Carr.
Wow.
Because it was just awful the way they treated her,
Her name was Carr, and she didn't go too far.
No, she did.
Police academy.
She had a very short career. Short drive in that car.
Yeah. So you graduated. What precinct did you go to at first?
2-4.
Oh, you went to the 24th precinct.
When you were there?
That's in the beginning of Harlem, right there in New York
82,
City.
83?
So I got to the 2-4 in '83 after the academy, in the NSU, and I met two terrific cops by the name of Al Torado and Bobby Pridgeon, two old-time street cops. I mean, they were in. I was lucky enough to have them in my squad, and these guys were just terrific. They go out every night and they turn out and they collar. And they didn't care if it was, a robbery collar or a gambling collar. I seen them bringing guys, for dice, If it got them in the system, that's all they were looking for.
Right.
And they were just terrific role models to emulate.
Were these guys in the sector?
Yeah. Straight sector cops, They did
That was
their
a
time.
9-squad chart back then, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
It was
okay.
9-squad chart, and
Would you explain what that is to our audience?
it's a chart. The best way I could describe it to you is hell on earth. It consists of a week of day tours when you got to be at work at 7 o'clock in the morning. A week of 4 to 12s when you got to be there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then it goes back and forth. And then when you're getting the rhythm right, they throw in a set at midnight.
That's
to
right.
Completely
That was
screw
the
you up.
hardest thing.
It was the roughest thing in the world.
Yeah.
It wasn't good for the police officers' health either, right?
No, but I'll tell you, the cops were terrific.
It was good for the
It
camaraderie,
was
right?
terrific for the camaraderie.
And why was
because
that? You had a chance to work with everybody?
You work with guys, and you forge relationships with these people, and it was wonderful. It really was. Unlike what you see today, guys are so isolated and
Well, a
fragmented.
precinct now is 3 different tours.
It's
There's a day
it's-
tour, 4 to 12, and midnight. And no one knows each other, right?
Poor policy.
Yeah.
What can I say?
Yeah, but that 9-squad chart was killing people because sleep is very important, especially in a high stress job, and when you don't get consistent sleep, it's bad for you. That's why you had the average guy died after retiring 3, 4, 5 years. He dropped dead.
I'll tell you, every young cop can relate to this. Every young cop with a family. I remember my wife after I did a midnight. I'm at home, I'm sleeping in the middle of the day, and I hear my wife, "Quiet! Your father's trying to sleep."
That's right. That's right. I remember my son used to come and smack me in the face while I was sleeping and go, "Dad, get up!" and I just got home, he's trying to wake me up. And what are you going to do? I'm laughing at a 4-year-old smacking me in the face trying to wake me up.
That's great. Yeah, they don't get, and obviously they don't know. They don't know how what the hours that you worked. So you're working in the 2-4 precinct, and you're working with these two great cops. Were you able to be riding with them for a little while as like a third wheel, or?
Well, I'll tell you.
How did you get so much? You just watching them do their business from another sector car?
Yeah, well, yes, that's essentially what it was. You weren't going to break these two guys up. They're partners. But when you go on, when you went on jobs with them and you watched them and you saw how they dealt with things, and occasionally you would even have the opportunity to ride in a car with them. It was a wonderful learning experience. Mm-hmm. I mean, Al Torado was a former Marine over in Vietnam. Joined the NYPD when he got back and did his 20 years in uniform, and he was always within the top dozen guys in overtime throughout the city.
Always.
Hard-working guy.
It's funny that sometimes back then the big bosses wouldn't look at that as a badge of honor, but a badge of dishonor. Oh, look at this guy making all this money, come on, boss.
Well, they don't give you the money for free. You got to make a rest.
Well,
exactly.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
But, so obviously these guys became kind of sort of like your mentors, or maybe somebody that you were aspiring to be as a cop.
Sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
We could say that, right?
Yeah, no question about it.
Because it didn't take long before you started becoming a big collar guy, right?
No, it didn't. And they taught me how to do it. The first thing they tell you is, keep the bosses happy. Give them their numbers, whatever they need. Keep them happy, all right? And then the rest of the month is yours.
Right,
You do what you have to do. You make your money. Mm-hmm. You know when you want to make your overtime.
What kind of collars did you like to make? What was your favorite?
I like making my collars draw at the end of the tour, and I wasn't particularly.
No, that's obvious.
You should have been a detective so you can make appointments for college.
Some cops have pet peeves, you know.
Quarter to 4 on the day tour.
I remember one time, you know, you get in the car and you're looking. Yeah, I told the guy, yeah, I'm looking, and he took me down to the subway down on 100th Street, down by Central Park West, and there's a guy selling the newspapers. And Christ, we must have chased him for 3 blocks.
What was he just selling newspapers?
Yeah, well, he stole the papers, and now he's selling them.
Oh, okay, all right.
But the Daily News was an excellent complainant. You know, so it was overtime. That's all it was.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Of course they're gonna sign that affidavit, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you're making the collars, and what do you do next? You go to anti-crime?
I'm working with a partner by the name of John Wall. He eventually retired 2nd grade up in the Bronx. And so we're working in the 2-4, and we're making our collars. We're doing everything we're supposed to be doing. And a sergeant by the name of Jerry Gorman, who was upstairs in the Borough Order Larceny unit, comes down. He says, I'm looking for a couple of young guys active. So, John and I went upstairs, and we joined the. I think it was only 3 or 4 other people up there. It was a 5-man team.
Order larceny?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good thing, order larceny. You learn a lot.
Yeah.
You learn a lot, man.
I mean, they put a computer in the car, and it was essentially a cash register.
Right.
Yeah.
It really was.
Because you pull cars over, you run their VIN. If it doesn't match, that's the collar.
You didn't even have to do that. You just punch the plates in. I mean, John and I would sit at the intersections and went, all right, that one's stolen.
It's unbelievable, right?
It was great.
But how many cars back then was stolen? It was an epidemic, right?
Yeah.
It was
I mean, you're talking about 100,000 grand larcenies at the time.
What did you say? They put a cash register in the car?
That was the computer. You know what's amazing? How insurance companies will say, "You're going to pay. You pay for car theft." Did your insurance go down after we dropped car theft to almost nothing? It never went down, right?
No, that's
And
true.
now they tell you, "Oh, we're gonna give you $500." Yeah, baloney.
So, would imagine that you're accumulating a couple of EPDs along the way, right? Tell us what EPDs are.
It's a departmental recognition. It stands for excellent police duty.
It's a like the basic ribbon that you get, right?
Yes.
The basic medal that you get. You're like if you had a starter's kit in medals, your first one that you'd get in the starter kit would be an EPD.
And you're not allowed to wear a rack of EPDs.
No.
Well, some people do.
Yeah,
We talked about that in another episode. You pile them up, right?
That guy's got an EPD rack.
All right, so it's a ribbon, a medal that you get because you made a couple of pretty good collars,
Right.
or a good collar, and then you keep accumulating them. You're supposed to put a number on it, like 5 EPDs, and it goes up to 10. And if you're lucky, you get up to like what was it, 50? You said, then you get the
50,
Medal of Valor,
100,
right? We're working our way
But
there.
you know what the other thing is if you want to take promotional exams, they count as points.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for promotional
I never
exams,
took the sergeant's
Yeah,
exam.
exactly.
I never wanted to. I never thought of myself as a leader. I'm not even a good follower. So what did you say? You got into anti-crime after that?
Well, we did
no, you went to auto larceny.
Yeah, the order larceny. It was
But you got to work the whole borough, right?
work the whole borough.
Oh, that's cool, man.
That's the best.
So the auto larceny for the borough came out of the 2-4.
Yes, it did.
Good,
And,
good for you.
It was a nice
Was it a
detail.
path to the shield?
No, it wasn't. It was.
It's a path to overtime.
Yeah, that's all it was. It was a path.
How long did you stay there?
I was there for about 3 years. I was a cop in Vermont before I came on the NYPD.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Was
that's
was
interesting.
Bernie
Like I said, I-
Sanders your partner?
he was a mayor.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
But I remember the first time I qualified. I come from Queens. I never had a gun. So the first time I qualified, the corporal qualified me with his pencil. You missed a couple of holes here.
But why did you go to Vermont to become a cop?
The city wasn't iron at the time.
Okay, so you just really wanted to be a cop.
I did.
You didn't move to Vermont. Then you actually had to move to Vermont after that, right?
No, he was going
Yeah,
to take
well-
the train every day.
No, because I'm saying that's a pain in the ass. That's a long commute.
Yeah, it's a big.
What? It is.
He took snowshoes to Vermont, up the Northway.
Yeah, my wife and I had recently been married, and our first 2 kids were born up there, so it was nice. Yeah,
Yeah. Vermont's beautiful, right?
it is. It's very nice.
Plus, you get all that maple syrup and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that that's where
no,
it's from?
New Hampshire's live free or die. What's
That's right.
Vermont's motto?
It's a Green Mountain state. That's all
Green
I know.
Mountain.
Sanctuary, gun sanctuary cities. That's what they got
it's
there.
all
50
very
of them
liberal
now.
up there. Very
Well, now they got 50 gun sanctuary cities up there, and they're talking about calling in. You can't. What are you gonna call in the National Guard against the sheriffs?
I was a cop in Burlington, Vermont, and I was charged with simple assault one night.
While you were working?
Yeah.
For
yeah,
what?
Yeah. A couple of days earlier, I had responded to a job. A guy threatened to burn his mother's house down. So I knew the kid. He was a local kid, local punk. And a couple nights later, I see him. He's walking down the church. He was at church on Main Street. So I get out of the car. It was snowing. It was about midnight. And I walk up to him and I said, "Hey, listen, I want to talk to you." And he just clears his throat and just spits right in my face.
Oh my God!
I knocked this guy down and I put him in cuffs. And I didn't realize it, but there was two Burlington police officers in a car parked in the parking lot across the street. So they come running over, and we put the guy in cuffs. Next thing I know, one of the cops makes a complaint against me, claiming that I used excessive force. So then the cop sitting in the car next to him says, "Absolutely not."
We're talking about 1980 now.
1981.
Wow.
So wow, you talking? It's because that seems like something that would happen now in like what was the town we were talking about? Portland. You know, that sounds like a Portland thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But now you're saying this is 1980, so you're talking about they were out there way in the left back then.
Well, honestly, this was just.
Well, this guy was.
Yeah, his name is Noise. Mark Noise.
Mark Noise.
Yeah. And the cop sitting next to him told me, "I know where that son of a bitch hunts. I'll get him."
You should have used excessive force on him.
Well, that's what happened.
Was
guy
his
went
locker in the shower? Wound up in the shower.
You could have
in
went.
Vermont, or
You
no?
should have went first blood on him.
Well,
That's
he
right.
resigned.
Called Rambo.
Yeah.
I
Take
went.
him up in the woods.
They took me to trial. It was called simple assault. They took me to it was a 2-day jury trial. And
What were you thinking?
And
How old were you?
I was 23, 24. I had 2 young kids at home.
What were you thinking?
I was thinking that,
You were scared?
yeah, I was scared.
Thought you were going to lose your job?
Yes, I did. I thought they were going to fire me. And the guy got up there.
Especially since maybe they didn't like you because you were from New York. You ever think about that?
Sure. You notice my accent?
Yeah, especially up there. You know what I'm saying? And here you are, this New York City guy, tossing people all over the ground for what? I mean, maybe he didn't know that the guy spit on you, but
Well,
obviously he's a dick. I'm just trying to be the devil's advocate here.
the guy got up in front of the jury and he said, "I got what I deserve."
Wow.
Wow.
That's great.
So
That's
they
a great
found-
story.
Yeah, they found me not guilty.
Was that?
Did he say why he did it?
So the DA who prosecuted the case resigned because he didn't want to prosecute it in the first place. The county state's attorney at the time wanted to run for governor.
Oh, so it was politics.
That's all. It was all politics.
But this guy,
And
this
when
cop that made the allegation, what happened to him after this?
he resigned.
Good for him.
The cop resigned?
He
He
resigned
should resign.
because I was acquitted of a very serious allegation.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't. It's not like I beat this guy. I mean, I knocked him down. I put him in handcuffs. I didn't hurt.
Yeah, but you know something, Vic? It's unfortunate. It's come full circle now. Like we spoke about that case. I don't know if you saw it where the cop punched the kid on the subway station.
Yeah,
but it was
right.
after he would already been assaulted. He got modified.
Unbelievable.
It's ridiculous. I mean, what do they want?
Yeah, but we're
cops
talking
to
about
do?
1980. It seems like all this stuff. Maybe I have a short memory, but it seems like all this stuff is new feelings, but it's not. It's been around forever.
It has. Oh yeah.
This anti-cop sentiment has been around forever.
Well, that was Bernie Sanders was the mayor. What do you expect?
That's right.
Yeah, there you go. Well, listen, America, if you're going to vote for Bernie Sanders, I'm sure he hasn't gotten any better. If anything, he's gotten worse.
He's no friend of the police.
So if you're
that's
thinking
for sure.
about, really, seriously, if you're contemplating voting for him, just listen to this tiny, small case when he was a mayor years ago.
almost 40 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
And as a result, the county state's attorney political career was ended. The prosecutor resigned his office.
Did this story make the paper and stuff up
Oh
there?
yeah, it was all over the papers. Yeah, it was all up there.
So after this thing gets resolved, you get put back on patrol?
I did. Yeah.
And how much longer did you stay there? Like at this
well-
point right now, had you taken the NYPD test and were just waiting to go,
Yes.
hey, you know what? Fuck you.
Yeah, I was waiting for an appointment to the police to the NYPD.
But also pending the outcome of this. If this would have went bad,
Oh,
you
yeah,
weren't
I
going
forgot
on any
about that.
police
You're right.
department.
That's right. And I,
You're
like
right
I
about
said, I was a
that.
young
Your
guy
law
with a
enforcement
family.
career is over at that
Correct.
point.
Correct.
He's going to be working at Walmart security.
Yeah. But then, like
Home
I said,
Depot.
I came down here to the city and
So wait, but you got
real
it.
cops.
You went back to patrol, and then how long before you came? NYPD called.
6 months.
All right, so that's cool.
I was in the January class, of '82.
So your kids were born in Vermont. You had a nice time there. I'm sure you enjoyed Vermont, but you were happy to come back home, right?
Yes, yeah. I had to make some money.
Where'd you move when you came back here?
Queens.
You went back to Queens?
Sure.
To
Like
Jamaica again?
Well, Queens Village.
It's like a salmon. You can just go back to where you were
right.
born. You know?
That's right. You go back where you know, where you're comfortable.
So okay, so we're caught up now. Now you're back. Now you're on the NYPD. You get past your first shooting,
Right.
and then how long before your second shooting? this is, you know what, man, this is like you were, from what I heard,
This
you were
is your
a real,
life.
from what I heard, you were a real, like you got involved in a lot of shit out there, man.
Yeah, I was one of those guys that, when I was working, I was like, oh shit, something's gonna happen tonight.
You could just feel it.
Yeah, right.
Maybe the next thing wasn't a shooting, but what was the next thing that that you made the paper with again?
Well, I think
Or just you caused the ruckus?
I went to the 3-0. I made sergeant.
Oh yeah. This is pretty interesting.
What
folks.
year did you make sergeant?
I made sergeant 87.
87.
And you went to the 30th precinct.
I went
What area does the 30th precinct cover?
3-0 covers the upper west side from 133 to 155. Bradhurst all the way over to the river.
All right.
And during
it
those
sounds
years,
like,
it's small, but it's one of the most violent precincts in the city.
It was 0.61 square miles, just over half a square mile. We had 90,000 residents. I mean, the place was just packed.
yeah, there's no private houses.
No,
over there.
none at all.
It's all apartment buildings.
Everything's upstairs.
You got 3333
Yeah,
Broadway
that
in
one,
there,
that
right?
place was like
33,
That place,
30.
that's got village.
10,000 people in that building alone.
Yeah,
I was in that place every week with
9,000
with a lost children,
numbers.
with a lost child.
3333 Broadway. How can we explain it? Basically, how many buildings is it? Because it's an A, B, C, D, E, F building. So at least like 5 buildings.
Altogether, yeah.
They're all kind of sort of like in a circle.
massive complex.
And they're all like 35 floors, right? Or something
Yeah,
like that,
yeah.
33 floors. And
All working class people.
it's
Working people going back and forth to
yeah,
work.
it's a massive structure there, though. You could, if somebody tells you, I live in 3333 Broadway,
know
and you have
exactly where they
a
are.
warrant for them, so you go over to the building there, and you're looking at, wait a minute, they're all, I need to know A, B, or C building, and then I need to know the floor and the apartment number. So then you would head over to their office, the management office. And yeah, they're going to give you the right. They're going to give you all the right
all
information.
These buildings had the security
Nah.
was on the side of the people that lived there.
Yeah,
too.
you're
You
not getting
couldn't
anything
entrust
unless
them
it was
with any
somebody that was a
information.
pain in the ass and they
Oh, yeah.
wanted to get rid of, or that was like I said, a pain in the ass. But most of the time, you weren't getting information out of them.
not at all.
No, not at all.
So that was one of the huge structures in there. 10,000 people living in there. So you go up to the 30th precinct, and how was your time there?
I had a
Here it comes, folks.
I had an interesting time up there. I served as the patrol supervisor. Then Martin, the boss at the time, told me I was going to be a CPOP sergeant. I told him, well, I'd really like to be an anti-crime sergeant. He said, yeah, well, that's tough. You're going to be the CPOP sergeant. and
And CPOP, that's community policing.
yeah, right. It's in uniform. Nice chart. You know,
you used to get the book, right? It was like a big book. You had to fill out which store you went into and talk to them about it. What's your condition here?
The crock of crap is what it was.
Yeah, how we can correct this condition. What it basically was a great opportunity to meet all the deli owners, all the restaurant owners, find out who owned the bars.
And get 28 chart days besides 27
exactly
vacation days.
28 chart days. Plus, every time you go in there and you sit down, before you know it, you're sitting in the back. You just walk right through the back, past all the Joker poker machines. Hey, fellas, how's it going?
When
Somebody brings you a hot meal.
When they first started CPOP, they let the cops make their own tours.
Yeah.
So you as the disco fool, so it was like they're
You had
coming
no
in
idea.
at all different. You're like,
No
what
idea.
the fuck is this?
Yeah. It was great.
You know,
I'll tell you,
Biggest scam ever.
Yeah, it was
So-
a scam.
We had a guy by the name of Richie Lagarda. He was one of my cops in CPOP. And I'm on the desk one day, and a guy comes in, and this is before cell phones. He says, listen, I want to make a civilian complaint. Cop gave me a parking ticket. So I said, all right, here, fill it out. What's the officer's name? So he tells me, Richie Lagarda. So I have Richie 10-1. I said, Richie, what's the story over here? This guy, he's filing a complaint against you. He said, yeah, the guy's got one of those temporary Pennsylvania tags on his car. You know, the bogus ones?
Yeah, the fake license plates. That was epidemic too.
Yeah,
man.
used
they
to
were all
love
over
it.
the place.
Yeah.
So I said, all right, listen.
Mystery mobiles.
This is what you're going to do. Rip up that thing, call aggressive tow, put it on the hook, take it up to the Bronx and crush it. So that's what he did.
What?
That's what he did. The guy was inside the 3-0 filling out a civilian complaint because I can't help that. But I crushed that motherfucker's car.
Oh, really?
Yes, I did.
Wait,
So now a week later, we're at the CO's meeting, and Martin brings it up. We had an incident last week where a civilian complaints car was crushed.
I can't believe it.
God's honest truth.
Why can't we do that anymore?
In all fairness, the fucking thing
Shouldn't have been on the street.
No, it had no license plates on it, no registration,
Right.
no insurance.
And now you're
he
gonna come
probably
in?
wasn't a licensed operator either.
And now you're going to come in and complain about one of my cops?
Exactly.
I don't think
But
so.
you know, almost every single livery cab back then had one of those paper plates.
Sure.
Well, it was a drive around for free for 3-4 months. Then
But
you
it
go
also
and get
meant
another
they
one.
had no insurance. That's what that meant too.
Yeah, but you would also go get another plate if you knew somebody after those when that one came to an end.
Oh, yeah.
So
$2
you were
to get
never
another
paying
one.
for
Right.
insurance or registering the car at all.
Right. So you get in an accident, who pays?
Yeah, you're not getting nothing out of this.
That's what's going to happen now as they start giving illegal aliens licenses. Think
So,
they're going to have insurance?
That's great, man. So you're in the 3-0 and you crush your cars.
Yeah, and then eventually, I got to Martin left, and we got another guy by the name of Pete Bacino. Very nice man. And the first thing he does is he makes me the anti-crime sergeant.
Right.
And it was terrific.
He was in the 2-6. He was
He was
really
a
a
real
gentleman,
nice man.
really nice
Real
guy.
nice
He
man.
died early of
He
cancer
did.
too.
He did.
Yeah. Good guy.
Terrific guy. But he made me anti-crime sergeant, and I just had a wonderful time. I was fortunate enough to work with some real talented guys. Guys like Zoltan Karpati.
Yeah, he was in my rip in the 2-4.
Terrific guy.
Yeah, he was very good.
Yeah, did he ever tell you a story about the time he hit
He was always shooting. He was always shooting people though
He's
too.
got 7. But Vinny,
Sultan wasn't shy in pulling that trigger.
Zoli worked in SNU with Chief Coogan.
Yeah.
And they're wrestling with a guy one day, and all of a sudden, Zoli hits Coogan in the head with the kettle light.
Oh, God. A mistake,
Just
obviously.
about knocked him out. To this day, Coogan says, that son of a bitch.
Must have helped him. He made chief.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, Vinny's a great guy.
So while you're there at the in the 3-0 as the anti-crime sergeant, some shit was popping off, right? Some stuff was going on. There was an investigation going on over there, wasn't there? The Fed stepped in.
Let me put things in perspective. At the time, the 3-0 was flooded with cocaine. It was flooded. It was flush with cash, and there were guns all over the place. And the place was almost out of control. And it's tough, son. Listen.
6 miles square area, and you're saying it's
No, I'm
Oh,
flooded.
0.6 miles.
No, 0.6. It was
Oh.
like just a half a square mile.
Yeah.
And yeah,
And it's like the drug cap, like 147th Street at the time was an open air drug market there. You could sell kilos in the street, right?
we were grabbing guys with kilos. It wasn't uncommon to grab a guy with a kilo.
Yeah, they would like out, and they had lookouts. Or didn't they have lookouts
Absolutely.
on the roof
Very
as well?
sophisticated communication systems, surveillance systems.
And with that, Vic, also came an epidemic of what we know as home invasions.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, that was very.
The 3-0 and the 3-4
I'll
were
tell
the-
you, we had
We're talking about 1984, 95, 84, 85 here, right?
Yeah. And the Dominican gangs were very active up there. Remember the Wild Cowboys?
Yeah, yeah.
Remember a guy by the name of Frankie
In the mic.
Cuevas?
Yes,
Frankie Cuevas?
I remember the name, yep.
Well, we locked Frankie Cuevas up at least twice. One time in a 3-0, we stopped him on Broadway with I took a Tech 9 off the guy.
Why is Frankie Cuevas such a? That name sounds familiar to me, but wasn't he right
He
at
was
the
part
core
of the Wild Cowboys up in the 3-4. He had spots in the Manhattan North and the Bronx in the 4-3.
But they also got famous because they killed some innocent guy
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
West Side Highway, too.
So
right?
I guess, yeah, they did. They killed an innocent person up in the...
Is that why the name became famous in New York
Well, they were prosecuted
Infamous
by
in New York?
Leslie Crocker Schneider, who was a famous prosecutor.
for that incident on the highway, killing somebody?
Well, the whole thing, like a RICO thing almost, right?
Yeah.
So how did the feds get start? Why did the feds start investigating? Obviously, there's drugs, like you mentioned. There's cash there. Everything's going on in Amiens. But how did the feds get involved in there?
Well, I can only tell you from my own perspective, my own limited perspective. It's not like the feds were talking to me about anything. But like I said, I had some strict rules for my guys in the anti-crime team. It was only 5 of us. And rule number 1, you don't go in these buildings. There's no reason for you to go in these buildings unless, number 1, you get a pickup on the street, in which case you're on the radio and I'm responding. That's it. There's no other reason for you to be in these buildings. So I'm on patrol one day, and one of my anti-crime cars is parked at the side of the street, on the corner. I know where they are. They're inside this building. I walk inside, 2 of my cops, Barry Brown, George Nova. They're tossing this apartment, and I'm pissed. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here? I know what they're doing there. They're looking for stuff. Mm-hmm. So I get out.
The reason why you don't want anybody in the buildings is because this situation, right?
I don't want. We don't want any allegations of corruption. We don't want any perception of corruption, any hint of it. And so I tell them, meet me down at 145 in Riverside. We're going to talk. So a couple of minutes later, I meet him down there. The entrance to the park there on the Riverside at 145?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We're sitting right there. And they get in the car with me. And I went off on these 2 guys. You motherfucker. What the fuck are you doing? I don't ever want to see that again. It's not right. If you can't make a collar on the street up here in the 3-0, you got to find some place else to go. I didn't realize it. Barry Brown was wired.
Wow.
He was recording this whole thing.
And Nova was one of the dirtiest motherfuckers out of the whole Dirty 30,
Absolutely. Right? He was stealing drugs, selling it back. It was fucking terrible. You couldn't trust anybody.
Well, Bill brought up one thing, and I was leading to it, but since you brought it up already, the corruption, the police corruption, and to that fan out there that's listening to our show and talks to us, send me an email. How come you guys don't ever talk about police corruption? Hello? Yeah. See, we're doing it. And not only we're doing it, we're talking about a major case here right now. This case was called the Dirty 30, wasn't it?
And I'm going to tell you something. You want to talk about police corruption? It's not tolerated by the vast majority of the cops out here, all right? And that's the truth. I can tell you that from square one. When you see something like that,
it's sickening.
So you caught these 2 guys in the apartment. You had to talk with them over there by the 145 in Riverside. And you said that the one officer was mic'd, right?
Yes.
He was recording everything.
Yeah.
And at the time, was he mic'd because he had already. Why was he recording? He already got picked up by the feds. How did they get him to wear a wire?
He was an IAB
Plant. So he
He
was
an
put
IAB
there.
informant.
So
He
before the feds came in, then maybe the department knew what was going on up
They-
there and started putting IAB guys in the precinct.
They knew all about it.
But every precinct has an IAB guy, right?
It was
Basically.
supposed to be a field associate, but in the 3-0 it was unique because the Manhattan DA's office and the feds had a case, and they were both like competing with each other, and they refused to take their undercovers out, and it caused some suicides, right? And it caused some real bad things to happen in the 3-0, right?
Sure. We had a police
So you had
officer
to-
shoot another police officer right in front of the desk.
So we're jumping the gun here. Let's
Yeah,
we're step by step. I'd rather do it. So you had this conversation now in the car with your two officers there.
Well, there's four of us, my partner and I, and then I brought these other two cops in, and I just let loose on these guys, and I got my point across.
And this speech was recorded.
I didn't realize that at the time, but yeah, it was recorded. Barry Brown recorded it.
When did you find out?
Sometime later, a long time later, and I can only tell you again from my own perspective. From the 3-0, I was invited to come to the street crime unit. Okay, and I went to the street crime unit with people like Tommy Galati, Paulie D'Entremont. I mean, real street cops, you know, and to be included among people like that, I felt.
But that's
the
a good
police
look, though.
department, You know,
That's a good look. I
They
mean, you're not
trusted me.
sitting in the car telling these guys, "Yo, give me my half." If you're gonna go up there, I told you don't go up there. But if you're gonna go up there, I want my half. No, you told them. That's a good look, though, right?
Sure.
I mean, you probably were like admired for that.
Well,
I mean, obviously, there's procedural things done wrong there.
I'll
But
tell you,
the
there's a-
reality is, it shows you're not corrupt. You don't want these guys doing anything like that.
Yeah, but one of the problems with that is that when there is a case like that, you can get ensnared in it by just doing regular police work
Sure.
that may be outside the realm of maybe you slap somebody or something, and you know they could see that or get that recorded or someone rats you out. You can get caught in that.
I was told that you remember when we used to go on when we used to take meal, we used to have to go over division radio and announce 3-0 Sergeant, we're going 63 at the house. We're going to take meal at the station house. Now every other cop in the precinct knows. Well, I know what a sergeant is now for the next hour, and they would go out and they would do their stuff, do their hits in that hour.
When you meal him.
Yeah, that makes
and
sense.
So now they change it all around now. Apparently,
Everybody's got to take meal together.
no. I think now the sergeant's got to call landline.
And announce it, not go
Yeah,
over
they
the
don't.
air.
They don't go over the. They don't go over the air anymore.
That's interesting. So what else? Come on. So
Anti-crime-
this is one incident right now.
I had. I'll tell you. We had some terrific times up in 3-0. We had some terrible times too. We interrupted a burglary one night. We had I had two teams out, me and my partner, and another team with two cops, and they had collared earlier in the tour. They had made a gun collar. So the arresting officer went home early to go to court the next day, and I took his partner in the car with me. So now we're riding around with three guys in the car. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning, and we see a guy on the second story of a store, and the plate glass window is completely blown out. And he walks through the plate glass window. So I put it over the radio. I said, we got a 31 in progress, request additional units. We set up a perimeter, and my two cops go upstairs, and the one cop is standing on the what's the umbrella that comes off the storefront?
The awning.
The awning.
Yeah.
He's standing on top of that awning, and he motions down to me. He's got four perps inside. So I put it over there. We got 4 perps inside. Request ESU. Bang, 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 bang. All of a sudden, shots start ringing. I put a 13 over the air, and I got my ass up on that second story, and I jumped out onto the awning, and I saw Zoli laying down inside the store. And I said, "Zoli, you all right?" He says, "Sarge, don't come in here. Every time I stick my head up, this motherfucker takes a shot at me."
Oh,
And with that, bang! A a bullet strikes the plate glass window right next to me. So I jump in, and I'm next to him. I see a guy. I unload 6 rounds into him. I run up to him. He's hit. And now I got this other guy, check, he's in the room with us now. I said, we run to the back of the store. I make sure it's secure. And I tell these guys, all right, stick together. So we find 2 more guys in a room, and they had guns. And as the cops are cuffing those 2 guys up, I see a door down the hallway close. So I walk down the hallway, I open the door up, and there's a guy with a .357 pointed right at me. So I slam the door shut, and I let 2 rounds go. Bang, bang! A couple of seconds later, the guy comes out. He said, it's okay, Poppy, it's okay. The guy had a hole in him, honest to God. It was the size of a coffee cup. And he collapsed, dead.
And you said, it's not okay, Papi.
No,
It's not okay at all. No,
That was my best shooting so far,
Shot you
Papi.
right dead middle and sent the mass, brother. Guess what? Nothing's okay. It's all, it's
That's
not
how
okay.
they teach me at the range.
It's all bad right now, buddy.
He knew it. You know, I remember screaming, police, police, police.
Uh-huh.
But
It's okay.
Anyway.
He wanted just to no hard feelings.
no, yeah, nothing personal.
Personal.
But I'm glad it worked out the way it did, you know. But again, the same thing. Louis Torellis, a detective in the 3-0 squad. Vic, what happened? He's a friend of mine. So I tell him, Louis, this is what happened. So Louis tells me, he said, Vic, I don't think you hit him. I said, what are you talking about? He said, the hole in this guy's chest, it looked like it came from that rifle that they had. Because they had a carbine rifle.
Yeah.
And there were over 50 shots fired. And Louis says, I think one of his own guys shot me. Louis, I was 2 feet from this guy. What happened is the bullet went through the door, it tumbled. And when it tumbled, it went in sideways.
Oh, okay.
It took off, 1 round took off his thumb, and they both lodged in his chest.
That's fucking badass, bro. That is badass.
Did he have like a thumb indentation in his chest?
So now, I race out to the front window, and I'm yelling for help. I need help! And I look down. You guys remember Louis Mineta?
Yeah.
That sounds familiar.
Captain Mineta. Yeah.
Captain Mineta, one of the best captains on the job. He's standing on the sidewalk with his hat on. He looks like a bulldog. He looks up. He says, "Vic, everyone all right?" I said, "Yeah." He says, "Calm down." That's all he wanted to know. Any cops hurt? No. All right, calm down. And yeah, it worked out great. It worked out good. We were able to go home that night.
Wow.
Wow.
Some story.
That's fair.
What kind of store was that?
Probably
It was a furniture store.
What were they doing in it?
It was, you know what had happened? The place had been burglarized a couple of nights earlier. And these owners decided, well, we're not going to call the police. We're going to take care of things ourselves. So they left the window wide open. They put 3 guys inside the store with guns. And when the guy walked in, when the burglar walked in, they grabbed him.
Right.
So we saw the guy go in. And then when my partner, Zoltan, walked up and screamed police, they started shooting at him. So it was unfortunate.
Yeah, that's...
But
Wow. So they were setting up. They were looking to catch the burglars and teaching them a lesson, huh?
yeah, little
Yeah, I always thought about doing that.
Street
Street
justice.
justice.
Street
Yeah,
justice,
little street
right.
justice. Wow, this is an this is an incredible. That's what we do, man. We bring the superstars in here.
So then Matarazzo said, listen, we want you to come to Street Front.
That was the
You
reward.
got 2
right
more
there.
shootings than you?
Yeah, right. It's just the guy we're looking for.
Where are we with time right now? How we doing? Okay. I wanted to mention with the time because we got way more stories to get to with our guest Vic Hollifield here. But before we do, I just wanted to do a couple of things. We're gonna put up. This week was a bad week all the way around. My buddy Chris Cotton died, and Chris Cotton was a very funny comedian. I believe he was from Philadelphia. He came here to New York City, was doing his thing, and he passed away. And I just wanted to say to his family that it's a loss to obviously his family, but also the comedy community too as well. And may you rest in peace, Chris. Also, my buddy Angelo Lozada, he's like my other friend Mark Vieira said, the best person I know. Tremendous comedian. He's the opener. He warms up the crowd for the Daily Show on Comedy Central. Just an amazing human being. I love the guy, and he's going through stage 4 cancer right now. And he could use your help. He's helped a lot of people. He has a GoFundMe. We'll be adding the link to it to the podcast. And also, Michael Vinitsky, he's a police officer that in, I think it was 2004, he was guarding a prisoner, and that prisoner broke free and hit him over the head several times, and wound up causing some brain damage in there, which led to ALS. And he was brought, he was only coming out of his house like 3 times a year to go visit his doctor in Manhattan, and then now he's in the hospital. And we're going to have the information. Also, you'll be able to see it on the podcast. We're going to add that to the link. We're going to add that link there to go visit him if you're a member of the service and could do that. A lot of members of the services are now going to visit him. And last but not least, rest in peace to Detective Seals from Jersey City PD. He lost his life. He was meeting what I read was a confidential informant inside a cemetery that turned out to be 2 really bad guys. Or was it a
guy
bad guy
and a
in the
girl?
family? Yeah. But it also, they found the phone number in a pocket now for the 3rd suspect. So it could have been, he could have bumped into the 2 guys and they split up. But anyway, this police officer lost his life there, and then those animals, those killers went on to kill. They went to a Jewish supermarket and killed at least 3 people there. So to that Detective Seals, may he rest in peace as well. And last but not least, rest in peace to a great actor and a great person and a lover of police officers. The guy loved cops, Danny Aiello. May he rest in peace. My condolences to his family. They were very, very good to me. When I was a young actor, still in acting school, I went for an audition. Danny cast me to play a boxer with a glass jaw on his TV show called Della Ventura.
A real New Yorker.
Yeah. And the whole thing it was such a police moment because I was working in precinct warrants at the time, and I was going to take lost time, leave work early, to go for this callback audition. And I told my boss if I could asked him if I could have lost time, and he said, "Where are you going?" So he says, "No, we got to take care of something in the city anyway. We'll drive you to the audition." So I went up for my callback, and I went upstairs, and I did my little shadow boxing because they had seen me act already, want to see if I could really box. And I threw my punches, and then they were like, "You got the part." And I couldn't believe it because it was a co-starring role in a primetime series out the gate, 6 scenes, you know. You could see it's on YouTube, me and Danny Aiello. And then I had to go out to the van, and but I went out to the van, and I was sulking, my head was down. I was like, they were like, "What happened, man? Did you get it?" And I was like, "Nah, man." They were like, "Oh, don't worry, brother. You know, all the guys I worked with, man, don't worry, like picking me up. You'll get him next time. We'll get him next time." And I was like, "Nah, I got it." They're like, "Oh," and we all started partying, and it was a great moment. And I was happy that, the 2 worlds collided there, the acting world and the police department. And that's the reason why we do the show. Basically, is to uplift the members of the service, let them know that there's life after the police department. Hold your head up, do the best job that you can do. And we're going to come back for the 2nd hour.
Mark, let me just say something. I was just telling Vic, he asked me, "Why did you pick me to be on this show?" And I said, well, basically because I only know cops in Manhattan North. But I said also, you had a great police career, and it'd be a shame if some of these stories die with you someday.
This is the Hall of Fame, folks. If you're not aware of it, what we're doing right now is we're bringing to you a member of the service, NYPD Hall of Fame, and we're going to be expanding. We're going to visit other police departments all around the country, interviewing their phenomenal retired officers. We've had ADAs on the show here. We have somebody coming in there, and they're going to break down body cameras for us. This is not only is it funny, but it's also informative and it's interesting. But this is the Hall of Fame, man. You get on this show, you did some phenomenal police work, and it's an honor to have Vic here today. And we're going to cover some more we're just scratching the surface with Vic here. We're gonna hear some more crazy stories, some more war
And
stories.
could you imagine we were drinking? How good these stories would be.
Oh yeah. Well, the only reason why we're getting them out and that we're not incriminating ourselves is because we're sober. Somehow we know where to draw the line.
That's right.
Yes, yes, definitely. All right, so tune in for part 2 with Vic Hollifield. We'll be back, folks.